its new heights. Well, uh, always whenever we have guest speaker and professor coming here, I feel deeply that you came here giving new insight and spirit. Always give like intellectual ammunition for us and broaden our insight. Thank you very much. So even though we are living not in in a remote country, but we feel that we are connected with the broader intellectual networking. In conclusion, I express my wholehearted support and appreciation for the remarkable achievement of our graduate students in the Faculty of Education. Your passion for intellectual growth, dedication to making a positive impact, and tireless pursuit of knowledge of excellent inspire of us. Well, our teacher all and me as a lecturer, I feel that you inspired us, encouraging us to well move further in the future because you proved already that we can manage and we can produce a fresh graduate. I smell today that I smell fresh graduate just taken out from the oven. It's quite still fresh. And you are the first in Arabic language. You are as-sabiqun al-awwalun. Yeah? A pioneer. Al-fadlu lil mubtadi walau ahsanal muqtadi. So the highest credit should be given to the pioneer, even though the second one, third one is better. But the first one, it is the one that well deserved to get the highest credit because you are the pioneer. As you continue your journey, I encourage you to keep pushing the boundaries, challenging status quo, and thriving for even greater accomplishment. To everyone present here today, thank you for joining us in celebrating the accomplishment of our graduate students. I would also like again to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Student Association for their outstanding efforts in organizing this forum. Together, let us continue to foster a spirit of collaboration, inspire one another, and create a brighter future through education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Kemudian Hidayat, for the welcoming remarks.
And the next agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to show you the video of the Faculty of Education of UIII.
Welcome to Indonesian International Islamic University, a university that stands together in a diversity of cultures, languages, history, and also the beliefs inherent in the identity of Indonesia as a multicultural archipelagic country. Indonesian International Islamic University is the first international Islamic university in Indonesia that not only explores Islamic studies, but also introduces to the world an advanced Islamic civilization in Indonesia that is able to make a positive contribution through discovery, research, and global achievement.
Do you need high quality of international education right here in Indonesia? The place is at the Indonesian International Islamic University, or we call it UIII. UIII has 4 faculties. One of them is the Faculty of Education. The Faculty of Education offers MA and PhD in education with 4 concentrations. First, curriculum teaching and learning. Second, educational assessment and evaluation. Third, education policy management and leadership. And 4, education and society. The 4 concentrations are designed to represent the ecological system, namely those that focus on the micro context, represented by the concentration of curriculum teaching and learning, the meso context represented by the concentration of educational assessment and evaluation, and the concentration of education policy management and leadership, while the concentration of education and society represent the context of a larger meso layer, linking it with the macro lenses of economics, politics, anthropology, and sociology of education.
And here, we are at the Faculty of Education, one of the faculty at UIIU designed to produce high-quality transformative educators with a passion for lifelong learning. Our dedication to excellence and innovation sets us apart from the rest, and we are proud to be leading the way toward a brighter future for education.
The UIIU Faculty of Education offers a Master of Arts in Education program that prepares graduates for careers as academics, practitioners, designers, researchers, government officials, managers, supervisors, assessment specialists, evaluators, policy analysts, and consultants at national and international institutions. The program provides a comprehensive foundation in education covering theories, philosophies, practices, and their connection to society and culture. Graduates are equipped with the skill and knowledge necessary to succeed in education. The UIIU Faculty of Education is committed to providing students with a supportive and inclusive community. Our faculty comprises experts dedicated to helping students achieve their academic and professional goals. With resources and support available at UIIU, students have the opportunity to thrive and succeed in their chosen careers in the education sector.
The Faculty of Education is filled with experts and globally recognized lecturers who are able to share their passion, story, journey, and perspective with like-minded students.
Our PhD program is designed for students who are passionate about education and want to make a significant contribution to the field. Our faculty members are experts in their respective areas of research, and our program provides students with the analytical tools and resources they need to conduct groundbreaking research and participate in global discussion. Our application process is highly competitive, but we encourage all qualified students to apply. You can visit our website for more information on the application requirements and deadlines. Let's make your dream come true with study in the PhD program at the Faculty of Education, Universitas Islam Internasional Indonesia.
The Faculty of Education at Indonesian International Islamic University is designed to produce scholars, researchers, and experts in education who understand the scientific foundation of education holistically, with a comparative insight into the philosophy and the practice of Western, Islamic, and Indonesian education. Students at the Faculty of Education are encouraged to explore complex educational problems and come up with innovative solutions.
On more than 140 hectares. Welcome to Indonesia.
Let's have a big applause for our video. Very nice video. Okay. Next agenda. To ensure the success of this event, we will now begin our next agenda of prayers, which will be delivered by the students of the Faculty of Education from Afghanistan, Mr. Mir Hussein Amiri.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma inni as'aluka bi anni asyhadu annaka antallah. La ilaha illa ant. Al-ahadu samad. Alladzi lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadi wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Raditu billahi rabbaw wa bil islami dinaw wa bi Muhammadin nabiyaw wa rasul. Rabbi zidni ilman وارزقني فهما ربي زدني علما وارزقني فهما وجعلني من الصالحين ربي زدني علما ووسع لي في الرزق وبارك لي فيما رزقتني وجعلني محبوبا في قلوب عبادك وعزيزا في عيونهم وجعلني وجيها في الدنيا والآخرة. O good God, perfect in all affairs. O God, who is sturdy to stand, powerful without sleeping, abdicating. O God, who started without a single example. Only to you all praise and all grace. Only yours is all the glory of circumstances. Oh Allah, lay your chest, hedge our affairs, and explain our words, so that the people understand our words. Amin ya Rabbil Alamin. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much. May Allah answer our prayer.
Now, the next agenda is the panel session with our one and only keynote speaker, Professor Bonnie Yim from the Deakin University, Australia.
And the discussion will be moderated by our colleagues of the Faculty of Education, Mr. Maruf Ahmed from Pakistan. For the moderator and the speakers, the floor is yours.
Professor Bonnie Yim. I would like to also express my gratitude to my colleagues and fellows from Faculty of Education, both from batch 1 and 2, both MA and PhD. So I would like to introduce Professor Bonnie Yim, because whom you see in front of you right now has around 14 research interests. They expand from teacher education, child development, curriculum development, and evaluation, cross-cultural studies to engagement and learning. And not only that, she has around 6 awards in the same, 15 projects, and over 32 publications. Imagine the vast amount of knowledge she would have and the skill to spin any topic she chooses to talk about, based on the very knowledge she has on these very research interests, which are over 14. So I'm very curious to see that. So she is basically associate professor, associate dean of the Faculty of Arts and Education at Deakin University, Australia. She is also early years consultant, providing consultancy service in early years education in Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, including Hong Kong, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia. Not only that, she conducts research through collaborative partnerships with NGOs and philanthropic organizations. She also serves on the editorial board for primarily scholarly journals And her research is basically, it's framed by mixed method analysis following teacher professionalism and sociocultural theories. Last but not least, she has been conducting joint research with the University of South Australia, Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, Yu Chung Education Foundation in Hong Kong, and NTUC First Campus in Singapore. The topic of today's discussions that is going to be moderated by me and led by her is 8 strategies for timely completion. So we are basically going to venture from key milestones, visualizing our goals, rewarding ourselves, finding our own system, and finding our own system for a successful timely completion. I would like to request everybody to remain silent so that we can have successful insurance of this discussion, and put your mobile phones on mute. The time for today's discussion is around 2 hours, starting from now to 11:40, and then we are going to have 15 minutes of Q&A session, following 5 minutes for wrapping up the session. Without further ado, I would like to give time to the speaker so that we can have the very knowledge she has on this very topic and gain new insights on the topic. So, speaker, please, the floor is yours. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. First of all, allow me to stand up and give a very, very big thank you to all of you for having me here. It's really wonderful to be here because this is the first time I'm on campus. And as I mentioned to colleagues here before, I've been meeting with all of them via Zoom for the last 1.5 years, maybe more than that. And we usually see them in small boxes in Zoom. And now I see, wow, you have legs. So I think it's wonderful to have all this connection, as Rector mentioned earlier, connection, creativity, and congratulations. All start from letter C. Connection, creativity, and congratulations. This is what Rector mentioned to me, and I say it's wonderful to really celebrate all these things together. So in the next roughly 40 minutes, I'm going to share 8 tips with all of you. And if you can turn the PowerPoint on, that would be wonderful when you're ready. And while we're waiting, then I would also like to say thanks to Rector, Dean, the head of Master of Education, and also all the students, lecturers, and our IT team, and also the president of the Student Association and the moderator. Thank you. Now, for those who know me, you can't just sit here and listen. Because I work in education, the best way to be involved is to engage. So later, usually I ask the student to put their mobile away, but now I want you to bring your mobile out because I need you to do something later, okay? Oops. So, first of all, welcome to take out your mobile phone, scan the QR code, and then enter the password. Once you are in, you should be able to see something very similar to this PowerPoint on your mobile. If so, welcome to click the like button or the heart button if you want, okay? Is that all right so far? If you can sign in, give me a thumbs up or give me a nod. Well done. Good job. I can see most of you are done already. So scan the QR code, enter the password. If you miss it, that's okay. Along the way, you can still see it. Can you all okay? Are you all okay so far? Give me a sign. No? Yes? Okay, good. Thank you. If that is okay, I'm going to move forward to the next page. And while we are logging in, thank you, Sebastian, for distributing a pen to all of you. I bought it all the way from Australia so that you know that it's something from Deakin. And also I bought some candies for you as well. They are honey. So honey stands for sweet. So usually I want to bring some sweetness all the way from Australia. As I mentioned earlier, being the first one is very important. I'm so glad to be the first one, and you are the first batch and also the second batch as well. Wonderful. Okay, all good so far? Okay, let's move on. Now, I need some lesson on Indonesian language. Can someone tell me how to say good morning? Selamat pagi. Thank you. And I really want to say good morning to all of you. I know you're so busy with your final stage, some of you, for your final stage of your thesis. And also it's the beginning of the holiday as well. So good morning and thank you. And how to say thank you in Indonesia? Terima kasih. Terima kasih. Thank you to all of you for inviting me. It's a very short timeline for us to organize everything, but well done, and well done to all of you as well. And thank you to our IT team behind the scene. Now, as a background information, I would like to remind you these are the information that I'm going to share with you today. Is from my experience and also based on Deakin University guidelines. I will highly recommend you to refer back to the UIII guidelines. Make sure that will fit with what you're supposed to do. And also, top tips, check with your supervisor because they will be able to guide you from here onward. Now, I know you are in different stages of your study. Some of you are in the Master of Arts, MA. Some of you are in doctoral degree. In Deakin or in most university, Master is generally 2 to 3 years full-time or part-time equivalent. PhD is 3 to 4 years full-time or part-time equivalent. It really depends on the program. I would like to share my journey. Many years ago, I actually sat on the same seat like all of you. I was a master's student, and after that, I said, oh, I'm really interested in research. That's why I keep going from there onward. And now I finished my PhD and also work in higher education, and I'm now the Associate Professor and the Associate Dean for the Faculty of Arts and Education. We are one of the largest faculty in Deakin University. Are you okay? Yes. It's not just about in this classroom or in this theater, but about your study, your work, your life, your family. Are you okay? So I want to hear from you. On your screen, you should be able to see something like this. Am I correct? Okay. Can you choose from one of the options on your screen? On your mobile, you should be able to see that. Is that working okay? It doesn't work on your end? Is it still on the same page, right? Yes. Cool. Oh, okay. So it might probably because of the computer then. In this case, that's okay. I have a mobile mic. That means I will come to you. Okay. So I want to know, are you okay so far in terms of your study? There are four options here. Number one is, yes, I'm 100% okay. Number two, I'm not quite sure. Number three, I'm quite okay, but would feel better if I get an ice cream. Number four, I need help. Okay, I just randomly choose a few. Okay, out of the four options, what is your option?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay. I'm quite okay. I need an ice cream. I feel like I need help.
Final one.
I might want an ice cream as well.
That's good. Now, make sure study is a long journey. Make sure you ask for help. And if anything happens, just let your supervisor and your friends know. These are the 8 tips I'm going to share with you in the next roughly 40 minutes. And I will go through each of them. one by one. Welcome to take photos or ask questions in the middle of my presentation. Top tips number 1, know your milestones. That means you need to know how many things you need to do. For me, I usually map backward. I go to the end point and map backward. That is one of the way. So, usually for thesis writing, we have 3 key stages: early, mid, or end. Now, I want to know, what is your stage? Are you in the early, mid, final, or I don't know?
Probably early.
How about the person?
Early, maybe. I mean, in the final.
I can see the purple face. Okay, so let me see. Sorry, go back. Okay, so these are some of the milestones for thesis writing. For the early stage, we usually have the confirmation of the proposal and then also the confirmation of candidature. That means your proposal must be approved by your supervisor and the university. That is stage number 1, or you're still thinking about your project. Stage number 2, the mid phase, you need to apply for ethics if there's one in your university or if there's one in the government. And then you need to start data collection. Final stage will be data analysis and also the thesis writing and examination. I can see the person who have the purple face. That means you are in the final one, waiting for exam. It's absolutely normal. I remember when I was in my exam in the final stage of my master and PhD thesis, I think I look like a crazy woman. Hairs everywhere. You don't go to shop and you just sit and just keep typing, and this is our life. So for a thesis, this is a general sort of like a layout or structure. Now, it's not a must. Every single person's, your thesis might look a little bit different, but this is a general structure. This is also how I share with my student. Top and tail, 10%. Anything in the middle, 20% of your total word count. In this case, you know how much time you need to invest. Now, for those who are in the final stage, can you put your hands up if you are at the final stage of your thesis? Okay, now I'm going to come to you because you know a little bit more than the others. Now, for some reason, all the people going to finish sit in the back. Okay? So that means it's a progression, right? So beginning, mid, and then final stage. Okay. Now, out of the 6 chapter, which chapter you find that is the most easy to write so far? Okay. I haven't.
Okay, I think it's the first one, introduction, the most easiest.
If there's nothing easy about this, well, practically findings, because I just need the data from the participants, right?
Now, let's think about the difficult one. I like to go to usually the back. For whoever sit in the back of my classroom, I usually stand next to him or her. No, just kidding.
The easy one. For me, it's the introduction also.
Let's move on to the difficult one. Which one is the most difficult one to write?
I think the most difficult one is findings, because you might be expecting positive and you get negative, and it may go contrary with the theory and practice. So we keep on.
Okay, interesting point. Yes, findings may or may be difficult as well. Good point. For me, I find that discussion is one of the most difficult parts to write, isn't it? For some of you, not all, because discussion is about so what. 5 people like to eat dark chocolate, 10 people like white chocolate, another 12 people love milk chocolate. This is findings. But so what? It's the discussion. That is the most difficult part. Do you mean I need to ask the rector to put more dark chocolate, for example, in the campus because people love it then? So, tips number 2, visualize. Visualize your goal. You need to know what you would like to achieve. Once you visualize, you can plan. These are some of the examples to visualize. To visualize your goal, for example, you can use a chart, Gantt chart, or you can use a timeline to really factor your whole candidature. Through those, at least you know what to achieve and when to achieve. Or you can use a mind map, or you can use different things. Or even the most basic things, something called the sticky notes. Put it on your fridge, big and large, right in front of you, so you know when to do a certain task. Okay, so far, okay? Number 1, what is number 1? The tips is know your, yes. Number 2, visualize. Okay, let's move on. 3, reward yourself. I'm going to share with you my PhD students' stories. I have 2 PhD students some years ago, and they start and finish more or less the same time. Towards the end of their study, they bought an air ticket to Bali and put it in the way that it's a very cheap ticket. That means you cannot cancel, you cannot reschedule. That means you must fly on a particular day. So they use that one as a way to reward themselves, as a trip to go to Bali from Australia. And think about what works for you. Are you a food person? I think Nina mentioned that I'm always very disciplined and trying to organize the meeting in a very organized way. But when I come to food, I lost control. I love food. Nina treated me a very nice meal yesterday. So if food works for you, think about a nice restaurant or nice food that will motivate you. Once you finish writing this chapter, go and eat it. But you cannot eat it until you submit your chapter to your supervisor. Or do you want to get a t-shirt? This is also another PhD student do. She ordered a t-shirt with a tick on the doctor and then wear it on the day of submission. And then just walk around the campus and tell everyone that I got a doctoral degree. Or do you like shopping? If so, set something that will make you happy and you set a target for yourself. Once you finish the chapter, I go and buy a new iPhone, for example. No, too expensive. Don't go for that one. Okay. Top tips number 4. Take action. Whatever I shared today, if you only keep it in this theater, it's useless. Make sure you implement it after today's lecture. How to take action then? Number 1, make sure you write a list of tasks. You know exactly what you need to do first. Number 2, and then develop an action plan. Think about the president of the student association. You know the job to organize today's event. Get the list of things and then get it done. Same case for Nina and also Tati. So they know the arrangement and then we set up the task and then we do from there. Thank you, Becca. So all these are very important. You need to know the stages and also the action. Then you can put things into the right place at the right time. This is a bit small. I will just read it out. What is the next task that you need to do for your thesis? How long it will take? What is the next task you need to do and how long it will take?
The next task you need to do, I need to do is writing this is a proposal, and it will take about 2 months for writing this proposal. Yeah.
Ma'am, I haven't studied yet. Writing first proposal. So yeah. Yeah, indirect.
I have submitted my thesis proposal, and I would like to work more on it and to review it for the next stage.
I'm so glad at least you know what are the next tasks. Okay, how about the people in the middle then?
Yeah, I think I want to learn deeply about the research. I think, yeah, that's the goal for tomorrow. Yeah.
The key things is make sure you know the task and then you can factor the time, and that is the best way to go from there. Okay, number 5, find your system. What does that mean? Everyone's works differently. For me, everything that I read, I can remember. But if I listen, I can't. So this is how it works for me. How about you? What works for you? For some of my colleagues, they need to stand up, move before they can remember. But some of you need to write a lot of things, then you can remember. So the key thing is make sure you find the things that work for you, because we are all different. Everyone have a different style, and have a system to keep everything under control. In this case, you will have a higher chance to complete your thesis on time, and also you know what works for you. Now, sometimes your colleagues ask you, hey, this one works. Go ahead and try it. You can try, but make sure it works for you, not works for the person sitting next to you, or it might not works for everyone's, but it only works for yourself. Okay, so these are some of the example system. For example, you can have a diary on your phone, you have a wall chart, or you can set up reminders on your mobile, on your notebook. In this case, you will have a high chance to work out the system that works for you. Now, these are some of the apps that I use, or some of the websites that I use, and it works for me. Again, it might not work for everyone. For example, I just give you the QR code for the first one, Trello. Have any one of you tried Trello before? Good. Okay. So, Bang Bang, is that easy to use or is that difficult to use? What tips?
Yeah, I usually use Trello to what you call as a simple database to know what already done and then what to do next. It's easy, and then I can use using my laptop or using my handphone.
Great. So, all these just some tips. I'm sure all of you have your own system and some of the apps that might work as well. Okay, ready? For number 6, prioritize. That is one of the most difficult job because we now get distracted so easily. We have so many things on our plate. When you have many things on your to-do list, make sure, number 1, visualize it. You see everything in front of you, and then we organize and we juggle. In this case, you can divide them into categories. Categories always help. Now, I'm going to share with you one of the many different ways. This is one of the many different ways to categorize your job. For those who are in the final stage, make sure you do this one because you have very tight timeline. For those who are in the early stage, map for the whole picture and then set priority. In this case, you will definitely complete things on time. Urgent. Number 2, important but not urgent. Number 3, not important but urgent. Number 4, not urgent and not important. Okay, have a think of everything around your life now as a master or PhD student. Can you tell me one urgent things that you need to do as soon as possible? Now.
Origin. To be a moderator maybe after this panel session.
The urgent things. Need to go back to laptop.
Need to go back to laptop. Okay, I like that. Okay.
For me, finishing all the assignment.
Next, important but not urgent.
Important but not urgent. Yeah. Important but not urgent is maybe like hanging with friends, hanging out with friends.
Getting with family, I think.
I think to find my bicycle.
Seeing my parents at home because they are getting sick.
Come back home.
Actually, self-healing. Self-healing. Yeah, maybe having some phone calls.
Visiting friends.
Important and not urgent. Okay. Well, it really depends on everyone's situation. I remember when my PhD student do the thesis, even the laundry, the dishwashing or laundry, some of the things are not important, but urgent. But it really kills up quite a lot of time. So those are the things that you need to be mindful and also say thank you to people who help you with those jobs. They are the people who help you to get through those jobs, but also help you to get through your PhD. Okay, so let's moving. In Deakin, we have something very interesting called the shut up and write session. That means we ask students, actually very similar to all of you. All the students come together. So everyone's in the same room. During that session, shut up and write. No chatting, no Facebook, no Instagram. So we put something in the middle and everyone put their mobile into that box. Cover it. And you can't touch that box until you finish something. So think about what works for you. In Deakin, this one works for quite a lot of even lecturers. Because when we say chatting or shut up, because we are now so busy with our phones, we spend too much time in really chatting with people virtually and distract you from your work. Okay, next, take a break. This is again very important. We cannot just keep working non-stop. Working hard is important, but working smart is even more important. Think about how you organize your time. Keep writing might not be 100% productive. You need the break. For example, when you come to today's lecture, get some fresh idea. Have a chat with the person sitting next to you. All these are important to make sure you have the space and also the regular break to move from here. Now, a few exercises which is taught by my physio friends. So they are in the physiotherapy. For example, now we're typing too much. You can stretch one hand. Can you all do this together with me? Stretch one hand. And then do it to the other side. And then the other exercise is to have your 10 fingers facing each other and push towards each other. Keep pushing. And then the other one is to put your fingers together and stretch. And then go up. And move your head up. Look at the ceiling. And turn to one side. And turn to the other side. And relax, stretch. Can you believe we are all working so hard on the computer? It's very, very bad for our neck, shoulder, and our lower back. So I remember when I did my master, because I have a very poor sitting posture, I end up with a big lump on my left shoulder. It's like a tennis ball. So it's a very, very bad one, to the extent that I need to go and see the doctor. And they said, well, because you sat in a very bad position and I can't even turn my head. So make sure do this exercise every now and then, because short break will keep you, help your mood, make you sleep better, and also think clearer. Okay, so these are some of the things you might want to do during your break time, other than those simple stretching exercise. Go for a walk or even plan for meals for the next day. Think about what are the things it works for you during break time. And again, regular break is very, very important for your mental health, for your emotion, for your well-being. Happy students, happy supervisor. The other way around, happy supervisor, happy students. So make sure you look after your mental health first before you work with others. Okay, final tips. Know your team. When you do your PhD or master thesis, or you're still in the early or final stage, it doesn't matter. You have a whole team of people working around you. My top tips is to know them well and be nice to them, because you need them a lot. So to be an effective researcher, now you as a student, and I can also chat with Tati and Nina, even as a professional academics, you need to work in a team situation. You always work with people. Make sure you have the team and you understand people to work with. Number 2, learn also how to work as a group and how to take criticism. That is very important. Do you have people around you who are honest to give you good feedback and critical feedback for your thesis? You need a critical friends around you. If you gave it to someone, people just say, oh, well done, good, it's nice. But nice in what way? Can I improve? Where can I do better? Do you have that person next to you? Is your supervisor critical enough to give you honest feedback? If not, ask for more feedback from your supervisor and say, I don't want just a good or excellent. Can you tell me excellent in what way? Where can I do more, do better, move from there? So these are some of the people I will highly recommend you to be nice with them. They are the people who are behind you and will bring you to the success. Some people might know that, well, for example, the editor. I don't know whether you will work with editor by the end of your thesis, or you will work more closely with your supervisor. And also for the oral defense, those are the people that are here to help. They are here to give you advice. That's why take the criticism in a positive and really positive way to make sure you learn from them. Build a good relationship with your supervisor. This is a very interesting comic. The one on the left-hand side is about the typical marriage. The one on the right-hand side is about your relationship with your supervisor. Sometimes it will spend roughly 7 years. Also start with a proposal. And some of them may end up with a divorce. I hope not. And some of them will end up with a very close relationship. For example, myself and my supervisor, even my master supervisor a long time ago, and my PhD supervisor, I still end up with a very good relationship with both of them. So it really depends on how you treat the relationship between you and your supervisor, and also you and your peers. Okay. So, can someone tell me what is your supervisor's preferred communication mode? Some people might like a phone call. Some of them might like a text message. But what is your supervisor's preferred mode? Now, I know your supervisor might be in this room today. Just ignore for the time being. Just pretend you haven't seen them. Okay. Can you tell me?
Yes, of course. Actually, my supervisor likes to be contacted in every mode, like through WhatsApp, through email, any communication tools that's available and possible, and she can provide me the time.
Yeah, for my supervisor, it's almost the same, but he just want to me to be in communication, whether WhatsApp or anywhere. But he wants me to like communicate frequently. Yeah. But you don't.
Oh, the problem is you don't do communication. Oh, that is even worse.
Okay. Hello. My supervisor usually likes to communicate through Slack. Yeah.
We have the academic supervisor, and with her through the emails we communicate, and even in the class when she's present, so we communicate with them.
Yeah, same about me. My supervisor, she also likes to be contacted by email. Yeah.
I'm really lucky and happy with my supervisors, because my supervisors right there, Bucharina and Palukman, yeah, they're really easy to be contacted anytime, anywhere, and anytime I need help, they're really ready. So yeah.
I have the supervisors. The first supervisor, she can be contacted from any media, either WhatsApp or email or anything. And then the second supervisor, she prefer to be contacted through email only.
Well,
It's quite funny because this row is having the same supervisor. So my first supervisor is actually Bucheri. I'm luckier than Fikar because Bucheri prefers to meet like offline, face to face, whenever I ask questions. And the second supervisor, it's balancing my world actually through emails, but she's also like having an open policy for offline.
Now, remember, supervisors are humans. They are human beings. That means they also have a life. They have family. They also need to eat. They still need a toilet break. So make sure be nice to them, but also be honest with them. So Nina and Tati, yes, what would be the best way for student to communicate with both of you and you feel comfortable then?
I think you heard one of my my students saying that I prefer being contacted through email. I try my best to respond to them according to their immediate need. That's my preference.
Yeah, I prefer to email also because when I open email, I actually ready to work.
Okay. Now, for me, I travel a lot because my job is for international and engagement. So my time zone can be quite different from my students' time zone, and also my students in different parts of the world as well. So some students might be, for example, now in Singapore. The other one may be in France. The other one may be in Switzerland. So I'm currently in Indonesia. So the communication can be challenging, but the baseline is that right in the beginning, let your student and let your supervisor know what are the preferred communication, because that really saves quite a lot of problems in the long run. Okay, here comes to the conclusion. 3 key takeaway messages from here. This is the question I ask all my PhD students in their first lesson with me or the first meeting with me. I will ask, hey, Destina, how do we eat an elephant? And the student usually say, what? How do we eat an elephant? Answer is 1 bite at a time. You will finish eating the whole elephant as long as you keep biting. It sounds daunting for your thesis. You are going to write such a long piece of work, so many words, so many chapters. It sounds really, really daunting, but you can do it as long as you keep writing. Don't stop writing, otherwise you cannot finish eating the whole elephant. 1 bite at a time. Second takeaway message. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Destina, Bang Bang, Tati, Nina, and myself, and also Charina, we all went through more or less the same stage like all of you. We were once a master student. We were once a undergrad student. We were once a PhD student. But all of us still alive. We're still breathing. We're still okay. So that means you say that, oh gosh, I just non-stop writing. When is I'm going to get to the end of this thesis? There's a light at the end of this tunnel. Look at all of us. We are still breathing okay? We're still standing here, still in one piece. That means there's a life after your thesis. It's okay. Hang on to that. Keep going. Final tips. Your supervisor is here to help. They really want to see you on the graduation stage. For me, it's always one of the most touching moments when I see my PhD student or master student or undergrad student standing on their graduation stage. That is one of the most touching moments. Your supervisor desperately wants you to be success. So make sure build good relationship, build trust with your supervisor. They are here to help you. They might be critical every now and then. They might give you some very strong feedback every now and then. They might also give you multiple deadlines. plural, right? Okay. Deadlines. But they are always want you to success. Make sure you do that. Okay, so thank you so much for listening and question and answer, and we'll be here for the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Boniem. I feel like after attending the session, I feel like I should have also said in her introduction that she is an infotainment master who can turn any academic topic full of entertainment. So that was really nice of you. Perhaps when the next time you come in and I introduce you, I'll do the same. I'll make you an infotainment master. Well, it was really good and very practical, targeting MA and PhD students. I also think that if we apply these strategies, these are not specific to the academia, but in life as a whole, we can, if we apply these strategies, we can be very potential human beings full of productivity and ethical values, because it starts from lots of things, respecting your supervisors and then contact them properly and valuing their time, and because they have families and so on. So it's really good to see. And I also felt like doing thesis is more like a game from her talk. It's like a game moving from easy to difficult stages, the same way we do in games when we play video games. So it was really good to see the infotainment master version of you, which was really good. Without further ado, we would like to move to the discussion section, which is going to be full of Q&A sections from you, hopefully. But before that, I would like to ask our respected speaker about her availability of time, like how much time do we have so that we can proceed accordingly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we are going to have, we can have this discussion at around, till around 11:40. I would like to give the stage to our respected attendees to start questioning so that you can gain further insights to the very topic delivered by our respected speaker. Please. You may raise your hand so that we know. Yoyon is there. Then we have our fellow from PhD.
Yep, thank you very much. Hello, Bonnie. It's really nice to see you again. I have a question. So basically, I am currently in the final stage of my thesis. I'm an MA student. Yesterday, I was informed that my thesis defense will be next week. So I would like to ask, do you have any tips for me or for us here how to do thesis defense, how to nail it, and how to impress the examiners? Thank you very much.
Very good question. I will share 3 tips. Okay. Number 1, stay calm. If I have been on the other side of the table many times, I have only been to a student side once. When I was a PhD student, I sat on this side of the table, and now I'm working that on the other side of the table. So on the other side of the table, that means as an examiner, if I saw that student come in, sit down, calm, it's a good sign. That means the student is well prepared. It gives me confidence as an examiner. Okay, so number 1, stay calm, take a deep breath. Before you go in, tee up your clothes or jacket and hair and make sure it looks okay. And then sit down and calm and give a good smile. Okay? And keep smiling. That is a very important tip. Number 2, know your thesis well before you get into the room. Because the supervisor or the examiners want to make sure the thesis is done by you, not done by your friends. The best way is to ask you something about your thesis content, the design, where's your thinking coming from, what is the relationship between you and the thesis. Because now we have so many technology, for example, AI, artificial intelligence, someone can do the thesis for you. As an examiner, I want you to feel proud of your thesis. You are the owner of your study. Okay, so know your thesis well. Number 3, know to respond to a question that you don't know how to respond. As an examiner, we love to ask you some very tricky question. This is our job, okay? This is our job. We ask questions. Otherwise, well, the university, why pay us to do the job? So that's why we need to ask questions. Sometimes if you don't know how to answer, you can respond by, thank you for the question. This is a very good question. I will think about it and I will discuss with my supervisor. If needed, I'm happy to adjust my thesis. Show to the examiners that, yes, I'm willing to learn. I know that this is a thesis which has a limit. I can't save the world by one thesis, but I'm willing to work together with you to save the world. But give me a space, give me a chance to further analyze if this is something important, and respect to the supervisor. If you respond in this way, show to the examiners that, yes, you have a good relationship with the supervisor, you work as a team, and you know what to do next. So these are the top 3 tips. Number 1, keep smiling. Number 2, know your thesis well because it's owned by you. You are the owner. Number 3, let them know, yes, I may not be answer all of them, but I'm willing to consider by working with my supervisor.
The next one, yeah, here, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. I would like to ask, sometimes in writing a thesis, my name is Shifa. I'm a PhD student. Sometimes writing a thesis during the journey, we face a problem that the supervisor has a different opinion or different arguments about our thesis. How you handled it?
You can either bite her or you can be a good student, just listen. Well, just kidding. I always have the same experience. My supervisor sometimes say, oh, don't do this, don't do that. Or yes, you should go that way. I always say, I want to bite you. But, well, that is a separate story. I may probably do a 2 tips. Okay. Number 1, draw a pros and cons table. If the supervisor asks you to do this way, there must be a reason. Write down the pros for doing this way and write down the cons for doing that way. And then do a good evaluation. And also show to your supervisor and make it a very strong justification if you want to argue with the person and say, hey, Bang Bang, look at this one. These are the pros if I do this. These are the cons if I do this. Based on your advice, what do you think? So you and your supervisor, remember, like a marriage. You discuss, you work together to build up the family. You and your supervisor work together, build up that thesis. So by the end of the day, the supervisor may still say, no, I don't agree. Go for that way. That's fine. But at least you show to the supervisor that I am now a PhD student. I know what I'm doing. This is my thesis. I work with you. We discuss. We find a solution. So do something to show to the person before you make the final decision. Number 2, by the end of the day, if the supervisor still insists to do that way, my top tip, listen to him or her. There must be a reason. I know the best way to make you to stand on the graduation stage. I want you to graduate. That's why we sometimes make some decision. You might not be able to know the reason now, but a few years later, you will know, because Destina asked me to do that, now I know why you asked me to do that 5 years ago. Give you an example. When I did my PhD, I have 2 degrees. One is in education, one is in musicology. That means it's about sociology and music. I have another degree in music. So I want to put the 2 things together for my PhD thesis. And then my supervisor said, you need to change the title a little bit. Instead of using just pure music or something about music, look at something called engagement. Engagement. I'm talking about almost 20 years ago. I have no idea what is engagement. And it was the first word, very new in all government documents at that time in Australia. No one's know the definition about engagement in something. Engagement in learning, engagement in well-being. No one's know what in me too. I said to my supervisor, no, I want involvement. No involvement, but I don't know engagement. My supervisor insists to use engagement, but now, 20 years later, every single educational context is using the term engagement. And there's a measurement, systematic measurement to measure engagement as well. So 2 ways, pros and cons, very clear discussion, open, honest discussion. If not, listen to him or her. There must be a reason. He or she might not be articulate to you now, but there's usually they want you to succeed and they want to stand on the graduation stage.
Thank you so much, Professor. The discussion is still open for more Q&A. So we'd like you to proceed with the questions, please.
May continue the discussion about that. If you have two supervisor and one supervisor and the other supervisor have different opinion and different thought, how do you handle that?
This is very common. Number one is the supervisor's own business. They need to sort it out. Number one, make sure the two supervisors will discuss. And one of the person will need to really make a decision. Otherwise, the students will be very confused. To be honest, from students' point of view, they don't know what to do, which one to choose, especially in the early stage. So number one, supervisor will need to do something themselves. Sort it out between you and your colleagues. From the student's point of view, again, write down, this is I always ask my students, write a meeting notes after each meeting with us. There's a record. So usually, in the beginning, meeting number 1, the supervisor might ask you to do this. In meeting number 6, the two supervisors may ask you to do that. Completely different. In this case, bring the meeting notes number 1 and number 6 to the supervisor and say, I want to have some advice from you. This is your first idea. 6 weeks later, this is your second opinion. I would like to go for this one. What do you think? Always bring along with your idea, because as a research student, I want you to have the critical thinking. You are not your supervisor's research assistant. Okay? Remember, that's a difference. You are a researcher. You are not a research assistant for your supervisor to do her project or his project. So if that is her project, you need to listen to his or her idea. But PhD is about your project, and you work with your supervisor to achieve that project together. So lots of negotiation. Again, the supervisor discussion is out of your control. You cannot control how the team work together, but always put your idea forward and say, this is what I would like to propose based on the two ideas. Is that all right? Can I move from here? Okay?
Yeah, it's great to listen to you, Professor. It's very practical advices. So since the talk was on time completion, I would like you to complete time by asking more questions, please.
Thank you for the presentation. It's very insightful. And thank you for the 8 tips. But I think I'd like to stress out one thing when you said that supervisors are human beings, so are students, right? In your flowing 8 tips, I'm wondering, sometimes life happens, right? If we focus on our academic aspect, sometimes life from the family or friends happen or otherwise. So any particular tips probably when something happens in between, how to get up and get back focused? Thank you.
Very important. I share a real story. One of my PhD students, she is a single mother. She's still a single mother now. She has 3 children. She went through a very nasty divorce during the PhD study, and she moved house. She need to move all the way out of her community to another suburbs, completely move away from that. It's a very traumatic experience for her. It's not easy. As a supervisor, since day one, this is just my personal supervisory style, is that I have a very close relationship with my student. I know them well. I know their academic background, their strength, and also their personal needs. Of course, not the details. I don't need to know the fine details of their family. So, depends on your relationship with your supervisor. If your relationship with your supervisor is good, share with them. Because as a supervisor, if you don't tell me, I don't know. Some students will come and pretend okay. Then as a supervisor, I assume you are okay. Unless you tell me what you need. So from the student's point of view, number one, build trust. You remember the last slide? Right from day one, build trust with your supervisor. Know the supervisor's preferred communication mode. If the supervisor like email, every now and then just drop a very summarized email about your progress, and also just 1 or 2 lines and ask, are you okay? Hello, supervisor. This is Happy New Year. Something a bit more personal, then you build a relationship. If the supervisor shows interest, then you can share something about your need, your family need, your personal struggles, and the supervisor can advise you to find help. In Deakin, we also have a short break. That means intermission. You can ask for intermission if you have some issues. For example, during COVID time, some PhD students lost their family, or they have very long COVID effect on their body. So they can ask for a short break from their study, and then they come back and without interfering their candidature period. Okay, so I would suggest you to make sure the relationship with your supervisor is okay. If not okay, seek some help from the student services outside. And then the key thing is let your colleagues and your supervisor know what you need. Then we can help you. We are here to help, but we need to know what you need to be helped. Get help.
Great. Anyone else, please?
Thank you. Now, I'm in a second semester. In the end of the second semester, then in the next week, I think there will be kind of a break for about 2-3 months before entering to the third semester. Would you like please to give us some tips on how to use our break effectively? I mean, like by the early of our third semester, I think I need to be ready with kind of idea to prepare the thesis proposal. Give me some tips how to spend my break, please. Thank you.
Your break, okay, 2 to 3 months, right? Okay. So I will do 3 things. Me, you, we. Okay, let me say again. Me, you, and we. Okay, start from me. Think about what you need now. Remember the urgent, not urgent, something not important and urgent. So that categories. Think about me, what you need to do very urgently, something very important but not urgent, something not important, not urgent. Shut yourself out first. Okay, it can be family, it can be study, It can be something else. You look at the people around you. It can be your family. It can be your friends. For family, if you have already ignored so many family get-together or birthday party, why not spend half a day with them? Let them know that what you're doing. Being a research student is a very lonely journey, very lonely, because the words you use can't be understood by your family. For example, the word methodology. For example, mixed method. Quantitative, qualitative research data. Who cares? Talk to your mom. She won't care. She just wants you to make sure you're healthy, you're well fed, and you're okay. So as a research student, it's a very lonely journey. Let the people next to you know why you are so busy. Give you a very interesting answer, stories. My PhD student have 3 children. Another one have 3 children. Okay. When the last one was born, I think it's in kindergarten, somewhere around in kindergarten. The child keep asking the mother, why you are doing the same assignment for 3 years? Because they don't understand why you keep writing the same thing again and again. Just one assignment. Why it takes 3 years? So explain to you, this is the second one, to the people around you. Let them know why you are so busy. Why you need to keep typing. Why you just need to do one assignment. Okay, so me, you, and we. We means always come back to the campus, meet with your friends here. Most of the time, when you have corridor conversation, it's one of the best conversation. When you met people in the corridor, just have a chat, went for a cup of coffee, went for a cup of tea. Usually, it will really inspire you, and they will give you some new resource to find something new. Another good example, I'm a very into IT for data analysis. Okay, so I use a lots of different tools for data analysis and visualization. So usually, my colleagues will share with me, where's the magic button? The magic button always saves me a lot of time. So chat with work with your colleagues, work with your friends, and they are the people who will share with you some of the top tips, top resource, and save you time and save your life. So me, you, and we.
Yeah, anyone else, please? We still have time, and the talk was on successful, timely completion. So complete the time. Yeah, please, Fadla.
Hello, Professor Bonnie. Nice to meet you here. My name is Fadla. It's quite related to the previous question about the relationship between the students and the supervisor. I have a story that this particular student thinks that she's struggling alone, and she had these arguments with the supervisor, and their relationship turned out very bad. And now, the ideal thing is we trust our supervisors as the students. And now, this particular student doesn't have any trust in the supervisors anymore. And and it is a very critical time, because it is the final semester, and the only option is to finish the thesis. But what could she do? Do you have any suggestions to fix the relationship between this student and the supervisor? Thank you.
Thank you. I think this is a $100 million questions. 2 ways. Number one, depends on the timing. You mentioned this is the final trimester, right? Or final semester. In this case, I think I will keep going because of the timing. And remember, you can keep publishing, you can do another thesis, you can write another article in the future. That means it's not the end of your research journey. It's just the beginning. If you can't work with that person, then you can always work with another colleagues, another researcher, another research team in the future. So get through what you need to do now simply because of timing, because it's the final stage. For those who are in the early stage, that's why I say right in the beginning, build trust. If you start early, if you start building the relationship good right from the beginning, it really saves quite a lot of time in the future. Usually relationship end with something not quite right because of the communication. Communication is very important. What you think is okay in your head doesn't mean it's okay in people's ears. What you say doesn't mean how people perceived, how people understood you. So use different communication mode. Writing, black and white, or even get out for a cup of coffee in different area, different location to build up that trust. And then people know that, yes, who you are, then I know how to work with you. So for those who are in the final stage, I will keep going. Unfortunately, it will be a very difficult situation, but get through it and then work with another team members in the future for your next research project. Remember, it's just the beginning, not the end.
Well, thank you very much for the suggestions, but I think I need to clarify something. It's not about my story. My supervisors are very lovely and kind and helpful. So yeah, I guess I would try to like deliver these suggestions of yours to a friend of mine that is having this difficult situation. So it can be fixed, like what is it? Make her sure that it's gonna end, like hang in there, and then it's solvable. Thank you.
Yes, it's solvable. Yes, all relationship can be resolved gradually, but it takes time. My question is, do your friends have times? Exactly. If you shake your hands, you say, no, I don't have time. Then in this case, I will look at the big picture first. Big picture is to get through your thesis or your writing, because you might be on a scholarship and you might be on some other things, and you need to get this one done and then move on from here onward. And also, all of you who are sitting here, if you are interested, I would imagine in 5 or 10 years' time, when I come back again, you might be working as a professor in another university, or you will be in this university or everywhere. What I want to share with you is use this experience to remind yourself what sort of supervisor you want to be. Do you want to be a good supervisor, or do you want to be a nasty supervisor to make the students feel so miserable? So remember this story, but by the time when you become a professor, when you supervise students, be nice to them, because all of us were once a student. We know students can be struggle. So think about what you want to do, what type of supervision you want to have.
Hello, Bonnie. My name is Iin. I'm an MA student at Faculty of Education. My question is, before that, thank you for the very insightful presentation. My question regarding about literature review. Do you have any tips regarding how to read many books and also many journal effectively? Because as you know, we only have a short period of time. So how the tips for reading effectively? That's my question. Thank you.
I suggest is usually for my students. Number one, do a table. Okay, very simple table. So number one can be the participants of the study that you read. For example, you read 10 articles, The participants can be 5 years old children. The next one is 7 years old children in a primary school. The next one, the participants can be parents. So put them into category. Category number 1 is about the participants of the study. Number 2 is the setting. Article number 1 can be done in Israel. Article number 2 can be done in Australia. Article number 3 can be done in Japan. Okay? Category number 3 is a quick summary, just one line summary of what you have learned from this article. 10 months later, you don't need to read the article again. You just need to read that one line, which is a quick summary by you. Number 4, the final column is the methodology. Do the researcher use a questionnaire or interview or pure content analysis? So put the category there. By the time when you design your thesis, you can go straight to that methodology and you can go straight to the participants or the context. That will save you a lot of time. When you finish reading another 259 articles, just one summary table, very quick, very short for you to find information. Tips number 1, table. Tips number 2, go for some audio books. There are quite a lot of podcasts, ebook these days. For me, I usually download one and then pop into my ear when I go for a walk. 1 hour walk, I can listen to almost half a book when they read in a good way. So that, again, saves you a lot of time and also use different modes to engage yourself and makes your learning more interesting. So you are a bit more multitasking. And while I'm doing my dishwashing, I'm also listening to some of the podcasts as well. Then that will save you time. Okay? So audio, top tips number 2, audio. Top tips number 1, big table, quick summary. Help you a lot.
Does anybody have any question, please? Yeah, please.
Good morning, Prof. Boni and all the participants here. Actually, I am still in the end of second semester, and we will be facing the thesis proposal in the next semesters. And actually, some of us are facing the academic writing things. Which includes the language, the using of the proper English language as like in the scholars writings, yeah. And I know that we are not in the adolescence or in the young young age, yeah. So we some of us, we are already married and we have another life, like we have to taking care of our families and everything. So it is quite hard for us to first, it is quite expensive to have a training for academic writing in Indonesia. And the second, yeah, that's a lot of stuffs, and we cannot sit 24 hours to practice the writing and listening for some insight for the papers and everything. So do you have any other tips for us to write in proper? Thank you.
Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. To learn a language, the only way is to keep using it. That is the only way. So think about English while you are doing your supermarket shopping. Think about English while you are doing your dishwashing. Think about English when you go for a coffee shop and get a coffee. So if you think in English all the time, then you will have a high chance to get a better way to write and present and articulate in English. One day, when you dream, okay, when you're sleeping, okay, when you dream in English, that is the good indicator. I'm serious. Okay. Any one of you dream in English so far? Good. I can see one hand, two hands, three, four. Okay. Good sign. That means English is already built into your body, in your blood, everywhere. So when you dream about English. So until that day, keep using it. When you go to even supermarket shopping, look at the label whenever possible. When you see English sign, English things, do it intentionally. That will be top tips number 1. Put English into your blood. So that is the best way. English is also my 4th language. My first language is Korean, and then Chinese, and then there's a dialect from my family, from my parents, and then English is my 4th one. So again, you need to keep using it to the extent that it's part of your body, part of your skin, and you can't stay away from it. Okay, number 2, top tips. Find your friends. The friends who is willing to read your English writing and give you honest feedback. So when you write something, give it to your friends and say, does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? So ask the person to give you critical comments. I don't need nice comment. Don't tell me just good or excellent. I don't need that. I need critical comments from you. If you give me critical feedback, I'll give you coffee. Okay, so something like this, not bribing, but make sure you have a good peer support around you. In this case, it's both internal and external. 2 things together, your English will be much, much better. But take time. It takes time to grow from here. As long as you want, practice makes perfect.
Great. Does anyone else want to ask the question, please? Yeah, please ask it.
Yeah, thank you, Bonnie, for the presentation and discussion. So I think all the fruitful discussion already discussed. But here, I think, if you don't mind, I want to ask about your your experience, about your difficulties during your study, maybe, and how you handle it. I mean, so could you please share your personal story? Thank you.
How much time I have? I think I can talk to you until tonight about about challenges. We have lots of challenges. I think I will share 3 top challenges. Okay. Number 1, I moved to Australia to have my doctoral degree. Okay, by myself. So one of the first challenges is how to handle the new environment, new friends, new home, new transportation, new weather. Everything is new while I'm trying to finish the confirmation of candidature in year 1. And I still need to look for houses, just like you when you are in Australia. You know that, well, the weather can be changeable. The house can be so far away. It looks close on the map, but it's actually took you 45 minutes to walk. So number 1 is to really get yourself familiarized and rebuild everything from scratch. When I start, I have no friends, nothing in Australia when I first went to Australia. This is the reason why I go there. No friends, no relatives, nothing. I know nothing about Australia at that time. I have a lot of relationship in the States, in Canada, and that side, in the northern parts of America. But because I know nothing, that's why I choose that one. Okay? So that is number 1. You need to build everything from scratch. And not just the study. I had a very good job in, I was living in Hong Kong at that time, but I worked for a Japanese company, and also worked for a company in Singapore as well. I had a very good job, high salary, ongoing position, and I just gave up everything and start from a student with no income. So this is the first challenge, and don't ask me why. I don't know why I did that one, but I think I've never regret that one. It's really one of the most challenging experience, but it really, really life wonderful memory. Number 2 is to use English I think you just mentioned English is really challenging at that time. As I mentioned, it's the fourth language. I used English in my previous life. That means before I start my thesis writing. And all my academic study program in kindy all the way to university is all English as a medium, as a instruction, but it's still not my first language. So English is the language, how to handle the writing part and the reading part and also the communication part. Everything is brand new. Number 3, data analysis. In my previous life, I don't need to do any data analysis. But now I need to use so many different softwares, look at all the numbers, look at the statistical significance. What is that 0.5 means? And also start from the beginning to write and speak in completely another language, which is different from my previous work. So my previous work is about teaching. When you teach, you use simple English so that parents, students know what you're talking about. In academic writing, we use super complicated, unnecessary English to present one sentence. So I think we need to change the whole style of writing and presentation. Sometimes we just say, well, dark chocolate is better than white chocolate. Full stop. This is simple English. But in academics, we need to write, according to XY statistical analysis, dark chocolate is 0.5 higher more than this one, and in average, this one, and the factor impact is this one. Well, by the end of the day, it's dark chocolate is better than white chocolate. That's it. So I think it's about how to use the language to write to the right target audience. Because in academic writing, you are writing to a group of professional researchers, which is completely different scenario. So number 1, start from scratch. Number 2, language. You are not the only one who struggle. I struggle too. And number 3, it's more about using the right language to write to the correct audience for your professional life, which is a completely different scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, we have one more question, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prof. My question is mainly related to, because we have this second batch and PhD students that are coming, they're gonna have their thesis write up and as well as the proposal and things. What I can sense from them, mostly the master students, currently they are like a bit confused inside their mind, and the only thing is that they lack the belief and confidence in themselves. From the very beginning, if they are having this kind of issue like, oh, my thesis, how is it gonna be, and they come and talk with us and see how you are doing, so these kind of stories really like make up their mind about things of thesis. So how and in what ways you recommend them to have that strong belief and confidence in themselves that they can do this and they can go through this phase? Because I can sense like they are having these issues in their mind. Thank you.
Very good question. It linked with 2 reasons. I share with you one of the research study. Okay, I think roughly 5 or 6 years ago, there's a very big international literacy and numeracy test across the whole world. I can't remember the name of that test now. Usually, it's a PISA test. Okay, PISA test for literacy and numeracy. It conducts the same test for all countries who are involved across the world. In that research study, the researcher found out why Korean students perform so well, why American students performed so poorly. So the researcher went to Korea and interviewed the student, went to the States and interviewed the students. Okay? So when the researcher go to Korea and interview the student said, I'm not good. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. No, I'm not good. But they are the top score of PISA. Okay. When the researcher go to America and ask why you perform in this way, And I'm American student, not all, okay? Some of them and say, yes, I'm so good at doing this one. I have no problems in terms of doing math, numeracy, not a problem at all. Okay, what I want to share with you based on this research project is about the culture. In some of the Asia Pacific countries, for some reason, we are too humble. Next time, don't be too humble. Tell your friends, tell your supervisor, tell other researcher how good you are. Because it's sometimes linked with our own culture. When we grow up, we always say we are not good. But actually, you are very good. So when you say, well, when you see a student, they are not confident, sometimes they just hide their confidence because this is how we were taught since we were young. So change that too humble mindset into a more confident person. This is number one, linked with our cultural background. Number two is also about your experience in the field. Now, for example, when you ask your supervisor, they are more experienced in the field. That's why they are more confident because they have more stories to tell. So as I mentioned earlier, 5 years later, if you invited me to come back, all of you will be professor. All of you will be super confident. Trust me. Because the role will change the person. If I give you the role as the dean, if I give you the role as the head of the faculty, the role will impact on your personality because you need to be confident to lead the team. You need to be confident to face the student. There's no choice. But now, because you're a student, you have a choice. You try to hire yourself. You try to let other people to do the job for you. But once you are as a professor, sorry, you don't have a choice. You need to be confident. You need to do it. So wait for that time. But in the meantime, think about your personality and the cultural impact on yourself. Be more confident and speak out.
Yeah, speak out. Ask another question, please. Yeah, our respected Dr. Destina, please. Okay. Are you, please, my dear classmate?
Thank you for this opportunity. So I would like to ask, as you mentioned before that, we need to be a confident person, but to be a confident is not that easy. Not all people can be very confident when they are present something, speak in front of the people. So I would like to ask, is there any tips how to build self-confidence, especially when we are present in the different language? Thank you.
So two things to be confident in your area. Make sure you know your area well. If you are the expert of case studies, okay, I'll give you an example. If you are the expert of case study, that means you know the subject matter well. Whoever comes to you, you are the expert of case study. And you can be the expert for quantitative data analysis because you are good at numbers. You're good at those software to enter the data, how to generate results, and how to interpret. So number one, know your subject matter well first. You know what you're talking about. So read a lot, research a lot, and make sure you become the expert of that area. When people think about case study, for example, they must go to you. They won't come to him. They must go to you. So build your profile into an expert of something. So it can be a research methodology. It can be a discipline. For example, you can be the expert in mathematics education, like Destina. Those people will go to her automatically because she's the expert. That expert idea will build confidence in that person because people trust you. Okay. Number two, to present in your second or third or fourth language, that is the tricky part. In the beginning, I still remember I write every single words in my presentation. because I want to make sure I articulate clearly and also make sure the audience get my message. So when you are young, as a young researcher, early career researcher, write everything down. Later, 1 or 2 years later, you just need some notes, short form. 1 or 2 years later, you don't need anything, just like me now. So everything's now in my head, and also I can just read some of the PowerPoint, and then I can present from here. So subject matter expert. Be an expert in something. It doesn't matter what, be something. Okay, be the expert. People must go to you and need to seek advice from you. Number 2 is to present, write something very clearly in detailed form, and then later you can reduce the detailed notes into more brief, and then you can build up that confidence and present from there. Okay?
Yeah, the next question, please. Somebody raise the question behind Ayu. Yeah, okay.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to ask. I think I will ask many questions. First question is about when we face a deadline and what must we think? We must be perfect or we must be realistic. When your supervisors expect more perfect writing from you. And the second question is about, I think is because I have a friends, my friends, not only one friend, that because due to the deadline, its impact to their physical and psychological aspect of them. So I try to be calm, but I can't deny that I also influenced by them to like not calm like that. So, and the third questions is about do you have tips to write analysis when you write analysis of our chapter using theoretical framework? Because I find it's difficult for me to do it. And the fourth, what do you think if we stuck in the process of writing? What we must do? We must take a break, or we must keep going in the deadline time? Thank you.
Okay, good question. I wonder how many of you had got married? Okay, how many of you got married? Okay, great, thank you. That means you have some experience of arranging a wedding. Okay, wedding is like a deadline. You will never get a perfect wedding because there's always something happen while you are leading to that wedding. Are you waiting for a perfect wedding, or you still get married on that day? Of course, you need to get married on that day because everything's booked. You can't change. So I think it really depends on the context. If the deadlines, as the president mentioned, it can be plural, that means you can adjust. But if the deadline is really a real deadline, you can't change, then you need to adjust your expectation for the final outcomes of that something. It can be a thesis, it can be a grant application, it can be a wedding, it can be a family dinner. If you invite your family to come to your place for dinner, you may not be able to arrange a perfect dinner for them, but you still go ahead. For me, I always advise my PhD student or my master student to stick with the deadline, because in Australia, what I prepare my student is the life after the PhD or master. That means I look at their employability. I make sure they have a life after their master or PhD. If they want to work in higher education, I need to prepare them to work in higher education. One of the most important jobs to work in higher education, I'm sure Bang Bang and Destina will agree, is grant application. We need to apply for grants. most of the grants, if that is from an outside company or government, the deadline is non-negotiable. You either submit it or you miss it. Too bad. So I always advise my students to really stick the deadline, because I want to train them to have that mindset is not everything is negotiable. When you want to say in higher education in the future, grant application is one thing that's non-negotiable. You either miss it or you need to wait for another year for you to get the grant. Okay, so go back to your number 1, 2, and 4 question, which is more about deadlines and due dates. It really depends on the context. As I mentioned, wedding, sorry, no change. You can't change to another wedding date, so you must go ahead. But if you think you want to negotiate with something with your supervisor, and if she agrees or he agrees, that's okay, because it's not the end of the day. It's still negotiable. So think about the context, and then think about the way you deal with that deadline. Go to your question number 3 about well-being. It's super stressful. If you ask Nina, Destina, and also and also colleagues here, I would imagine being an academics is super stressful. Even we are super experienced in dealing with so many deadlines, it's still very stressful. I would imagine same case for all of you as an early career researcher. It's a training. It's a painful training. I must say that. Very painful. But once you get through it, you know how to get a balance. Remember, my PowerPoint is about what motivates you. It can be shopping. It can be a nice food. It can be exercise. It can be something. Find something that motivates you to get through that deadline. For me, the best way to make me happy is to go for a walk, just a very nice walk, and then end up with a drink. It can be a tea, it can be a coffee, anything. So a walk and a drink will make me happy, and I usually put that activities after the deadline. That means I use that something nice as a reward to myself, then that will bring me happiness after that painful deadline. I hope that helps.
Yeah, great. So does anybody else have any question to ask, to speak out, to build confidence? Yeah, please.
Hello. Thank you so much, Dr. Boni. I can articulate how grateful I am that I realized my shortcomings. Regarding my question is regarding the action plan when you're talking about in your presentation. So when it comes to action plan in this area of shut up and write, so there are too many distractions. So I just need some tips to in terms of implementation of my action plan. Thank you so much.
For action plans, number 1, make sure you are a disciplined person. You really need to put yourself in front of the computer, put everything aside, and just keep writing. You have to be disciplined. To be honest, these days it's very difficult. With the mobile, with the social media, Facebook, everything is super, super distractive. And it's very, very hard to stay focused, but you need to be disciplined. It's hard, but you just need to be disciplined. For me, sometimes I know that I can get distracted easily. Usually during my work, I get email, I get phone call from colleagues, from students everywhere. I usually just put the mobile away, and I set a time for myself. Let's say 1 hour. Then I set a timer for 1 hour. During that 1 hour, I won't look at the phone. I just keep doing whatever I need to write until the alarm clock is on. Then I know I have 1 hour, 100% concentration time. So this is a very important tip, discipline. Number 2, let your people know what you are doing, why you are so busy. Remember, this is a very lonely journey. People don't know what is quantitative mean, what is methodology means. They don't know why you have to be sitting in front of the computer for so long. Let your parents know why you're doing what you're doing. You don't need to go to the details, but just let them know, hey, mommy and daddy, next 2 hours, I will be in my bedrooms. I need to write something and I need to be concentrated. I don't need food. Don't come and feed me. I'm okay. If you want to feed me now, and then give me 2 hours. I just need to write something. This is for my study. That's it. This is what your mommy and daddy needs to know, and your wife, your children needs to know. Just tell your children, daddy now need to write something. In 2 hours time, come back and play with you. So if they understand you, they will have less chance to disturb you. Then you have a bit more concentration time. So number one, start with me, be a disciplined person. And then number two, let the people know. Let other people help you. And also let the people do the basic tasks, the unimportant, urgent things, let them help you. Let them do the dishwashing for you for today, and I will do the dishwashing for Sunday. Let them do laundry today, and I will do the laundry next week. I need this week for my thesis. So, two things.
Yeah, great. Due to the limitation of time, a big applause, please. Yeah. Due to the unavailability of time, we are coming to an end of this very insightful discussions full of practical advices. Once again, wrapping up and summarizing what Professor talked about, specifically and limited to the very slides, knowing your key milestones for successful timely completion, goals, rewarding yourself, take action to finding your system, prioritizing, taking break, knowing your team. Relationship with your letters, each letter that you're writing, each page and word that you're writing with your thesis, relationship with your supervisors. And along with all these this talk, we can also learn how to be systematic in nature, because each answer that she was providing to every participant was very practical, like very systematic. 1, 2, 3. To every question she was answering like that. So we can also learn from her that when we defend our thesis, we are systematic like her. And also maintaining eye contact, which adds to the topic of confidence, which she talked about, that when we are defending our thesis or delivering any presentation in our lives, it's maintaining eye contact is very necessary, because she was not only looking at you, but also the moderator. Although I'm here, which most people lack in, we actually have to learn this from her too, looking at each and everybody as if everybody is like giving value to each participant who is listening to us. So this also the ethics, right? So that's all. It was a wonderful journey venturing into all these insightful topics and practical advices. Hope we are going to have a next time for the second graduate forum and other events that are going to take place at Universitas Islam International Indonesia. I would like to thank you everyone, every single participant here, the respected visitor with our respected guest, all our lecturers, dean, heads, and every single one of you whom I can see in front of me right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this big hand for even harder, guys, harder. Thank you, because I know the condition is a little bit sleepy, so I need to make up something, right? All right.
So thank you very much for the insightful discussion that has added to our knowledge, and that this discussion will be effectively used in the future. So kamsahamnida.
All right, the next agenda would be we have something special for you, Prof. Boniin, and we would like to request our Dean, Prof. Nina Nurmila, to hand the packets to our keynote speaker. Thank you very much for Prof. Nina, Prof. Boni, and Maruf. You may come back to your seat again. Thank you. What a wonderful presentations, and also wonderful from all of us who really wants to know, who really wants to learn more and more and more.
Okay, so everyone, we have complete the first session of our agenda today. And the next agenda is lunch and prior break. We also would like to inform all the audience that we will have a presentation at the classroom 15, 16, 17, faculty A. So all of you are invited to join the panel presentation.
And we would like to remind you that we still have the second day of our graduate forum tomorrow, and we will have the other parallel session, so don't miss it, guys. So we appreciate your presence and attention. Thank you very much for today. It's really honor and really awesome. So big hand for all of us. All right. So that's the end of our first session. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All right, our lunch would be in BI corner. So if you want to stay here, you want to write down anything, you'll be pleased to do that. Thank you very much.